let me welcome Alexandra Klimenko, whom we already saw a bit in the previous session asking a question. Now it's her turn to speak, and then you will be able to ask her some questions at the end of the session, and then also longer questions in the panel discussion. I suppose you read the introduction of Alexandra, and Alexandra can introduce herself more, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. Alexandra can do that definitely better than me. And Alexandra will be speaking about Stakeholder Frontiers, from conflict prevention to conflict resolution. Alexandra is going to share with us examples of possible conflicts during a project from a customer perspective, and how a project manager can resolve them. Alexandra, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Stefan, so much. Hi again, everyone. As you already heard, my name is Alexandra, Alex for short. And yes, I'm going to talk about some down-to-earth things. Like after 2 incredible sessions about fundamentals of differences between project and product management, how they can work together, how they should work together. I imagine that everyone is thinking about how to apply this to your work, to the structure of your company, and so what. And I believe lots of people will agree with me that when you try to change something, and even when you don't, you will have conflicts, you will have problems, even though there are a lot of great frameworks that will help you to prevent as many conflicts as possible. So to shift from this great frameworks that we were talking about, I would like to introduce you to a story about change and conflicts around this change when you are dealing with a stakeholder. To be honest, I don't even know if you are a project or a product manager in this scenario. So it can be either from my point of view, because project and product managers are very different in different companies. So let's see what's here. And before I start introducing myself, as Stefan suggested, I would like you to think a little bit about conflicts and types of conflicts that you face in your projects and products, especially concerning your stakeholders, your clients, your top management. So everyone who sort of important to you when you are dealing with a product or a project. If you want, I asked to expand the opportunities to interact. So I would really love to interact with you more. And you can even give me some examples of conflicts in chat or in the questions. And I will try to reflect on them as much as possible during the presentation. And there are also going to be a little bit of interaction inside the presentation. So while you're thinking about the conflicts and the types of conflicts that are most difficult for you in your work, so I'm going to talk a little bit about why am I here. I'm a horrible project manager myself, even though I at some point was one. But I'm more of a creative products regarding communication. Right now, I created a company that teaches communication to managers, top managers, and employees in order to have more effective processes, better outcomes, and in general, better work environment to make all this possible. And I had previously 10 years of experience leading different IT teams in various scenarios, like startups, some of them are even alive today, and huge corporations, multinational companies, and everywhere are inevitably conflicts. So let's talk about them. By the way, we are a company who already introduced a lot of students to communication techniques, and we offer courses at local universities in my home country, and we are working also globally, and now are very welcoming different opportunities to talk, to speak, and this is why I'm here, and I'm very thankful for organizers of this event for this opportunity to talk here. So this was the official part, and let's talk conflicts. Meet Joe. This is a stakeholder, maybe a partner in building the product. So Joe gives you some information, gives you tasks, requirements. Sometimes they are very specific and very good, and sometimes they are vague. So as you understand, there is a lot of room for improvement of your relationship, and there is also a lot of room for conflict. So the first thing that I want you to imagine, the first scene, is when you come to Joe with some stuff that you want to show before you make the final changes, for example. Like, this is some work in progress, because we know that in project management, it's very important to manage customer expectations or stakeholder expectations. So in order to do that, you show them, present them some work, and you would love to get some feedback, but instead of something irrational or like some comments, maybe some positive feedback and thank you for your efforts, you hear something very hurtful, like, this looks half-baked. We can't move forward like this. Why did you do this? Whatever you think is applicable to your situation. So there might be something that you don't want to hear, but still heard. And my question to you is, what would be your answer, like the approach to work in this situation for you? Like, here are answer options. If you want to interact with me a little bit, you can even show me what exactly, like, would you do, like 1, 2, 3. So the first one is to explain why did you come, because you know that managing expectations is an important part of a project. So you want to explain this, like, we're working iteratively and the final result is not here yet. So it's okay that the things are not perfect. And you try to explain this to your stakeholder. There might be some of you who want to respond with a sort of more escalated answer. Sometimes you just want to respond, and of course you don't do that, but sometimes you can. And it's interesting to hear, like, if your culture or your company culture, your company structure allows that. Or sometimes there are people who suggest ask questions and try to understand why the person is so bothered by this half-baked result, which for you is okay to be half-baked. So here, if someone wants to share their opinion, you can do that. And I'll leave you to ponder a little bit about this and to see how would you approach this conflict. So I see not everyone saw the chat, but okay, I can see some personal answers. So there's a different set of opinions there. Oh yeah, okay, so someone wants to say 3. Oh, okay, 3 is winning actually. Yeah, I see. As soon as I said that 3 is winning, I got a bunch of 3s as well. Okay. So the first thing I would say is that honestly, there is no right answer for every possibility. So communication is never mathematics, and you can never say that this is wrong every time. I can actually imagine a culture where saying choose the second option is the best way to move forward, because the corporate structure is like very red and you have to fight. It's not comfortable sometimes, but this is how things are done. So yeah, I would first of all say that there is no wrong answer completely. What I want to emphasize is that all 3 answers lack one important thing. Let's see what it is. This is trust between you and your stakeholder and the person who did that. Of course, you would argue, many of you might argue that he's the first who started violating this trust, damaging it with hurtful comments. For me, project or product manager is the person who is responsible, at least partially, for managing relationships. And you would excel at your career if you would be able to overcome even the difficulties and conflicts with your other party. And here, every single one of these answers damage trust, some more than others, some less. Obviously, if you say second, like if you think you can do better, feel free to take over, like shut up and like, just listen to me. Obviously, this will damage the trust more. But even the question that you suggest, and this is like actually a very interesting idea to go with the question, like, why isn't this acceptable? Why doesn't this succeed for you in your expectations? So what's the part that's missing? The thing is, if you talk to a person when they're very upset, very emotional, very stressed, and I would argue that this is what's going on with our stakeholder, with our job for some reason. The reason we don't know, but you can see in the way that response is managed that this is not something logical. And trying to reason logically with this emotional conflict is something I do not recommend most of the time. Even if a person thinks that they are very logical, that they are very non-emotional, trust me, they are. And this is very hurtful for us sometimes to realize, but we're still human, even inside, like during the work processes. And the thing is that being logical in an emotional conflict breaks trust, not completely, obviously, not completely, but just a little break. And if you take a lot of these breaks, you can damage the relationship. And if you choose a different path, at least sometimes, you can mend the relationship, make it better, be a better project manager, be a better product manager, be a better stakeholder, like be a better manager for this client relationship. The way to do this, and I have another presenter joining me to more emphasize the words I'm telling you, is empathy. We are not very, it's not very common for us to use empathy in a work environment. And conflicts are the best thing actually to do this, because these are the key points in your communication that help you bring trust much, much safer and much, much faster than it happens during the just, you say, normal communication. So what I suggest you do is find a way to show empathy. And here are some practical instruments that I want you to know and to have. But before I go to these instruments, I would like to assure you that this is very universal. So here are some citations from the whole world, like American culture, European culture, Asian sometimes culture, and especially any kind of multinational company, multicultural company, where at some point there are a lot of people coming together and working from different parts of the world. So we are suggested, we have this notion that we should leave our personal problems at the door. We should just work. We should be able to handle the pressure. We don't have time for personal issues and emotions. We should not show vulnerability. And this is why empathy is so great with the conflict. Because we are not very familiar with it in a work environment. And if you can do this in a work conflict, you will create a much better trust with the person sitting next to you and being very human, very emotional. So what I suggest you do is name, like be attentive to the emotions and actually verbalize what is going on with another person. There are very different ways to do that, and you should find yours in order to be able to successfully manage the situation. Because sometimes if you and your partner and a coworker and a stakeholder are both frustrated with the results, with the outcome, with something going on, it's the best thing to do is to say that both of us are frustrated. Like, for me, it's also the same thing. Are you also upset that we had some problems? Because me and my team are furious about it. What is going on when you're talking about emotion of another person, and especially like both other person and yours, is that we are a little bit forced to attend to hear what is going on with us. Like, am I frustrated? Am I angry? Am I hurt somehow by the result that I'm seeing? And in this environment, like when you are forced a little bit to be more attentive to yourself, you feel the sympathy coming from another person, and this inevitably creates a trust bond between you. Like it helps to mend this trust bond. And this is a very good way to find the answer that you're looking for when you say, why are you upset? Like, what's going on? But in a better way, because when you say why, you're inquiring, you're asking for information. The person might not be able to reasonably and logically provide you in this particular circumstances. But when you're first talking about emotional state of a person and maybe your emotional state, then going logically into the crisis would be easier for both you and another party. So, for example, if we are in a position where we think everything is okay, I just showed you some work in progress to get your opinion, and I have no idea why you're so upset. This can be tackled in different ways. Like, you can just name emotion. Hey, I see that you're upset by what I showed you. Could you elaborate on why do you think this is completely opposite from what we're talking about? Or you can say, I can't even imagine how this might be stressful for you right now, not to see what you wanted to see. Let's talk about it. Why the expectation was very different from what you see. Sometimes you are calm and okay right now, but you can imagine what is other person going through. So you can say, hey, I would also be furious in your position. Like, I'm not now, I'm calm, I'm very okay myself, but I would be furious, I would feel pain, I will be hurt. So this is my way to show you empathy. And if you can do this in a conflict, this turns tables, and this helps you build the better relationship. And after that, you can ask the question you initially wanted to ask, and you will not be in a confrontation, like, explain to me why. You will be in a conversation where you helping the other person, what you wanted to do initially from the start when you ask this question. By the way, if you have a lot of questions or comments about this part, especially because we worked for a long time with this notion, I feel you, I get you. There will be another part of our story where we can talk about not every emotional conflict is very well managed by these scenarios. Like, obviously, the ideal way this goes is that a person tells you something hurtful, like what I suggested to you, like this is horrible, this is half-baked, why did you give this to me, like why can't you listen to me, anything that you can imagine, which you see in like cases like this. So our response, instead of trying to logically reason with it, would be something like, hey, I see that you're upset. Can you tell me what is wrong with the result I showed you, given that this is preliminary? Or I see that you're frustrated. I just don't understand why. Can you tell me more about it? And the thing that you can get in return is like the actual reason why the person is so stressed, right? like I need this project to be successful, and everything I see just slightly changing the situation from my point of view can be very stressful for me. And if you get this response, this is amazing. Like you just build some trust. But this is not what always happens, of course. So this is just the first instrument I suggest you take from this discussion, from this presentation from me, to manage your conflicts better. And the trigger for these instruments, is you might think that there is an emotion involved. You might think the person might be stressed. It can be shown in their tone of voice or in the words that are very not normal for them, or in the behavior or something else. So this is for you a hypothesis to check, because this costs you nothing. It's very low risk, high reward in trust. And low risk might feel like a not low risk when you think like, of course, this doesn't work in my culture, because everyone will say like, why are you saying I'm frustrated? That like, just do your work better or something like that. But actually the situation didn't change. You were met with something hurtful, and like you checked if that was on purpose or that was emotional, and you realize like at least the person you're talking to doesn't realize it was emotional. Okay, you can move forward. Now you can go like further into this, some kind of discussion with this person, trying to be more reasonable, more logical. And this is what you can do. But first you check, maybe that was stress. No? Okay, let's move on with the third option, for example. So the impact of choosing empathy, as I already told you, is that if you see some kind of emotion, it is a sign that something is wrong. The emotions themselves are not a problem. Maybe a reaction you see might be problematic for you, but you can tackle that later. But you do want to have this trust with the person, because we build trust through emotions. And when you have this trust, it's much easier to deal, to manage, to negotiate. So let's imagine you successfully tackle this thing, like the first case with your Joel stakeholder, and now you met with another. Like, let's say the project is done, like at least some key part of it is done, and you come, and it was tough for you and for T. It was very difficult. It was heartbreaking, maybe sometimes. You worked nights, you were very motivated, you poured your heart into this work, and now you present proudly this to your stakeholder, and you are met with something that like very weird, like, oh, finally, thank God they did it. Oh my God, like, see, it wasn't that tough. Why did you make such a big deal out of it? So this is a kind of response, like I'm exaggerating, of course, but you can again find different types of reactions of your stakeholder that you find like reasonable in not reasonable, non-reasonable, but believable in this type of scenario, when you had like expectations of being praised, being met with words of amazement and thanks and so on, or at least like some thank you would be nice, but instead you just met by something like this. Again, I suggest to you several options, and at least two of them are to stay quiet or silent or whatever, just like, you know, changing your perspective on this relationship of yours with a person, like putting them into your little blacklist or something like that, because why not? And one of them is again a question, and I'm really interested in your answers. So take a minute, maybe less, and think, what would you do in this situation? What you actually normally do, because I believe everyone heard this situation. Everyone had it. If you didn't, please tell me your place of work, because this might be amazing. And if you work there more than like a couple of months. This is a more difficult question for you. So like so far, no answers. Okay, so we are again going with option 3. So I'm really interested that you choose, again, like, I understand that there might be different opinions. So if you want to tell me what would you do, and this is not on the screen, I'm all ears. So just shoot a comment. Oh, okay, this is actually, yes, someone said that this is like, they want a 4th option. They wouldn't do whatever is on the screen. So I'm excited to know which one, if you want to like explain better. Okay, so someone, I'm gonna read to you because I understand that this is only visible to me. And there are more 3 options. And someone says, like Elena says, I would actually say that it wasn't easy at all. Okay, this is a little bit of what I want to talk to you about. But first, I believe that there are people like, I don't think I'm exaggerating, but there should be a number of people thinking 1 or 2, and I won't even bother to tell you that. Like it's obvious, it's 1, or it's obvious, it's 2. And let's see what this holds for us. First of all, this is a case about boundaries. Yes, this toxic environment, ecological communication, stuff like that is important at work. Like, trust me. And the thing I want you to understand is that being a person with boundaries is not in conflict with your career changes. On the contrary, boundaries usually help you to excel in your career. Not only because having a work-life balance and being able to defend it against others who want you to work nights or like change your work at last minute and so on. Not only because you have more energy because of defending your boundaries, but also because boundaries are not only about your energy, they're also about how people see you, how people in your society, like this small society that you have at work, for example, how they see you. And in order to do your job effectively, you should maintain your authority and your status in your team, throughout the whole company, society, with your coworkers, with your employees, anyone, like clients, top management, CEO, and so on. So why exactly? So maybe you heard, I actually in Russia we have the saying that first you earn your authority and then your authority earns you something. Like first you work for your authority and then your authority works for you. I don't know if that's a universal, I don't know, but it actually makes sense to me. So first you earn credibility, like you are the one who does, you are the one who delivers, you are the one who's always there, you're the one who's on time, you're the one who has excellent results. And then this works in your favor. And the way to be this person who has excellent results is not only have excellent results. This might be controversial because sometimes it's about how you sell these results, how you talk about these results, and how you allow others to talk to them, to talk about them. And this is exactly what happened. Like when you say, when someone says to you, hey, see, that wasn't that tough. Why did it took you so long? It immediately feels like you took too much time in doing it, or like you want praise for something not big enough, and so on. And in this case, well, this is not what happened, right? So you will have to defend yourself. Otherwise, your status will change, your authority will shift, first a little bit, then a lot, and you will be left with less successful project, less better, like not the best stakeholder, not the best project, not the best team, and so on and so on. I'm not trying to give you fear of this thing, but I want you to be aware of the consequences of not using all the tools you have to be able to tackle the responsibility, to be able to tackle the boundary thing. So how do we do that? So someone already said to me in the comments that I would say that, hey, you know, this was actually difficult. And one of the things that is important when you talk about boundaries, it's not just to see that they are violated, it's just to identify the problem, identify how, what are the facts and what are the words. And the other thing, the second thing is to see, like to put it into the other perspective. Oh, I see I'm out of time. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I just need a minute to be able to finish not half-baked presentation. And I will just tell you that when you talk about this problem, this is the same thing as giving feedback to a workplace situation. And when you talk about facts, you can say something like this. So when you are met with this thing, like, see, it wasn't that tough, it wasn't like that difficult, why did it take you so much time? You can first say, yes, I hear that you think this was easy, but from my perspective, it wasn't a simple task. For me, it's important that my team values are valued. And this is what I want you to do. And like, this is where what helps you to build the relationship instead of, you know, again, entering the conflict. And since we're out of time, and I'm sorry for that, I just told you that I am a horrible manager and time management is one part of it. I only gave you 2 options to do, and I hope this would be enough for some of your conflicts. And if you want to talk further to me and to know what else is there for you to manage your conflicts with communication, here are my contacts. And if we have time for the questions, I can take them. But if we don't, I'm just out of speech. I'm so sorry, Stefan.
No problem. Thank you. Considering the time, we'll handle any questions too as part of the panel discussion, okay?
Yeah.
Good. So thanks once more.